We're back with Republican candidate for Rock Island County Sheriff Keko Martinez. Cases of stolen cars climbed dramatically the last couple of years in the Quad Cities. It's gotten a lot of attention. A lot of it gets blamed on kids taking them from joyrides and their owners actually leaving their own cars unlocked. What do you think you could do more as a sheriff to help keep it from happening or reduce it from happening? Is it something that a sheriff can do to try to implement some kind of changes?
Well, I believe you could ask for not-for-profit organizations that could contribute to mentoring and helping, like the Boys Club or ironically, I heard on the news about this child that stole a car, and then it went to a commercial break, and the commercial was about an organization, I believe it was a Lutheran-affiliated one, that would help troubled children. But I believe these children need guidance. They're just kids, and whatever led them up to doing this stealing of cars, or I think they need a reverse role model to help them, to wean them out of this culture that they're caught up in.
So you're more for more intervention-based organizations and policies and procedures in that way. Something, I guess, like Davenport Mayor Frank Clippers is trying to do with his youth action summits.
Yes, and I would propagate that. I'd be behind the mayor. I'd be behind any organization that'd be interested in doing that. These children need to understand that when they do things like that, they're going to have some type of consequences, and we don't want to go there with these kids. They're still young, they still are pliable, and I believe they could be mentored, given the proper background check and all that of the people who would do that.
You think the Sheriff's Department can play a role in actually supporting that as well?
Sure.
Gun violence is another serious problem. We've seen that all over the Quad Cities. A lot of reports of just simply gunshots, plenty of cases where people are getting injured or sometimes killed, unfortunately. What would your approach be to try to address that, to reduce that? At least it's certainly probably impossible to eliminate entirely, but how do you address that? Well,
there seems to be the majority of people that do those type of crimes have a history of crime. Some of them even on parole or probation. They need to be reminded of the severe consequences if they get involved in that type of thing. I'm also for concealed carry for people, innocent bystanders, just people that might become victims of people that are perpetrating crime with a firearm.
Yeah, your policies do suggest you're a very strong Second Amendment advocate, and you're actually you want to help people train. You'd actually help cover expenses of people training and even buying a gun if they buy it within to encourage them to buy within Rock Island County.
Yes. Evil thrives where good people do nothing. And we don't want evil to thrive, and we want good people that are properly trained and are competent with a firearm to be able to protect themselves. If the bad guys know that the good guys have a firearm, they're less likely to attempt to do something like that.
Now, you support also allowing school employees and teachers possibly to have guns on campus, of course, if they're properly trained and licensed. Why do you think that's a good idea, and do you have any concerns that things could go wrong if that happens?
Well, things are wrong when the perpetrator does something like that, when they present a weapon and start shooting. Somebody that was against competent people having a firearm in a school, I asked them, who's the first people that are called? Well, the police. Why? Well, because they have a gun. They have a firearm. Well, it should be in place already, because I have been part of a special reaction team member. We're called in after the fact.
Is there a limit on how many people you would want on a campus to necessarily have a gun?
Well, it depends on how big the campus is. There's a lot of variables there. And again, it doesn't have to be a teacher, just somebody who's properly and well-trained and confident with it.
Before we go, something on the lighter side. We said at the top of the program your name is Francisco Cruz Martinez. Quickly, if you could tell me, what's the story behind the nickname of Keko?
Well, Keko is the least of about a dozen nicknames for Francisco.
Okay.
There's Frank, Francis, Frank, Pancho, Panchito, Paco. Well, the least is Keko, and when I was born, my mom chose the least of those names.
Stands out, makes it pretty unique.
Yeah.
It's very memorable. Certainly do appreciate it. Keko Martinez, appreciate the honest conversation with you this morning as well. Good luck with the rest of the campaign. We will be following things on Election Day, to be sure. Well, funding for FEMA. What to make of the transfer of money from the Federal Emergency Management Agency to Immigration Enforcement? For the record.